And welcome back to Real Talk Sports with Rico. Today we are doing an NFL preview, really going into the top storylines going into week 9 of the NFL season. I think the most important update going into this week is that this is the final week leading into the NFL trade deadline. So, really looking forward to seeing what moves might be made on the trade deadline, which I think is Tuesday. And I know that there's been a lot of chatter around the Washington Commanders as now Adam Scheffler has come out and said that there are multiple players that have requested a possible trade to the Washington Commanders. Obviously, they're 6-2. They're heading into a divisional game against the Giants, which I think that is going to be a tough game for the Washington Commanders because it's on the road. They've just come out of an emotional win against the Chicago Bears where they got that Hail Mary pass. Can this young Washington Commanders team focus in against a Giants team that is going to give them everything that they can handle? At 2-6, they're trying to find their first home win at home of the season. So I think that this is going to be a tough game for the Commanders because this is the type of game that if you're looking to become a very good team, you have to win. But just to note, that there is going to be some movement coming with the NFL trade deadline. And so next up, talking about the Cowboys and the Falcons, I think that is going to be a huge game for the Cowboys. It's a must win because the Falcons, when Kirk Cousins is on, this team is extremely difficult to beat. The defense has been beat up for the Cowboys, and they have got to find a way to try to keep pace in the NFC East with the Washington Commanders. The Bills and the Dolphins look 2-5. You have Tua back, not looking good for the Dolphins. I'm still surprised with what the Bills have been able to do with no Stephon Diggs. They've lost Gabe Davis. They lost pretty much the wide receiving core. And Josh Allen has found a way to get these Bills to 6-2, looking pretty good. The Raiders and the Bengals. This is a game that the Bengals absolutely need at 3-5. It's been a tough season for both teams, but this is a game that the Bengals have got to get if they want to at least stay in the hunt, at least for trying to get into a wild card or something. So next up, the Chargers and the Browns. Look, the Chargers have played very well. I like a lot of what we are seeing from them. They're becoming a defensive-minded team. That's exactly what Jim Harbaugh is as a coach. And so I think that this team continues to transform itself. They need to get this win against the Browns, but I think that they do. And again, I like where they're going with this team long term. Next up, the Patriots and the Titans. And so, look, I think that the Patriots might have found something with their quarterback in Drake May. I know he got injured last week, but he's looking pretty decent out there. I know the Patriots still have a lot of pieces that they need to get this team back to winning football, but I think the Patriots can get this win against the Titans, Saints, and the Panthers. Look, the Saints have been hurting. They've obviously been without Derek Carr in this one. This is going to be a tough football game to watch. Broncos and the Ravens. Look, the Broncos have surprised me. I thought that they were going to have a tough season. If you would have told me that they were going to be 5-3 at this point, would not have believed you. So this is going to be a tough game for the Ravens because the Broncos defense has been pretty stellar when it's healthy. It's going to be challenging against Lamar Jackson and company. I think Lamar Jackson missed a couple practices, but it looks like he's going to be fine. Just a little bit of load management here going into this one. And so the Ravens need to definitely get this win against a tough defense out there. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that game shapes out. Eagles looking pretty good last week. Offensively, can they keep it rolling against the Jaguars, who have really struggled this year? I think that is the key point for the Eagles. Can they continue to get the offense back to where it was when they made it to the Super Bowl? They found something maybe last week. Can they build upon that? Bears, after a tough loss last week to the Commanders, can they come back against the Cardinals? The Cardinals just find a way to stay in games. And if they stay in games, they can get you. So this is going to be a good game. I think this is going to be another test for Caleb Williams and that defense, which is elite in the red zone. So, this could be, another one of those games where you could see like a 16-10 type of game, something like that, because the defense of the Bears is stellar. Next up, the Lions and Packers. This is going to be a great game. It's all going to depend on Jordan Love, if he can play out there. If Jordan Love can play, I expect that this game might be one of the most exciting games really of Sunday right now is going to be the Lions and Packers. I think that these two teams are definitely going to be battling for the division towards the end of this one. But can the Lions continue to keep it rolling? Can the Packers continue to keep ascending? I think that that's going to be the answer or the question really in this game. So next up, Rams and Seahawks. I think that this is going to be a tough game. It's a divisional game. The Rams got a nice win against the Vikings, who have been hot. They've cooled down a little bit lately, but I talked about the fact that they have Nakua back. I don't think that they are going to trade Cooper Kupp at this point. So I think the Rams are all in on the second half of the season. Can they make a run? It'll have to start against the Seahawks, Colts, and Vikings. And so, look, the news out of this game is that they're going with Joe Flacco, and I'm talking about the Colts here. Talked about Anthony Richardson, and I've said this before on my show that Anthony Richardson is the type of player that if you're right and you got that pick right as far as drafting him, you're going to look like, just the GM of the year. But if he does not pan out as a quarterback, then it could cost you your job. And so, look, I think that he struggled really with accuracy for the most part. I think this is something that he's got to get better at. I know he's taken a lot of heat for taking himself out of the game, for being winded. And then also, too, he's got to stay on the field as far as injuries are concerned. So that's what you have to really wonder about with Anthony Richardson. Does his confidence still stay the same? This is the first time that he's been officially benched. And so I think that Joe Flacco has a chance to make an impact for the Colts because the Houston Texans, they have injuries with Nico Collins. You have Stephon Diggs, who's out to a knee injury. So the Colts, they can put themselves in a good position in this division with a win against the Vikings, who have cooled off a bit. Can the Vikings get it back going? They will get their tight end back this week, who's been on IR from a knee injury. So we'll see if they can get some impact there. Next up, Monday night, I think that this is going to be a great game. Look, Baker Mayfield, he's taking a lot of heat right now for, I guess, throwing up the interceptions and things like that. But to his credit, the defense has not been very good. And I think I understand where Locked On Buccaneers is coming from when they're talking about that Baker Mayfield has had to go out there and be extra aggressive and try to get points to just hold on to leads and to try to get the win because the defense just cannot get the stops that they need. And so, I think that Baker Mayfield is going to have to be aggressive. This defense of the Chiefs has been stellar at this point. Mahomes hasn't been outstanding, but Mahomes has definitely made the winning plays necessary, much like they made a year ago to win the Super Bowl. And it is the question of, can Baker Mayfield really will this Buccaneers team to a win? He does not have Mike Evans at the time of this recording, and he doesn't have Chris Godwin. So look, this is going to be a tough one for Baker Mayfield. Make no mistake about it. I think he's going to have to lean on his running backs. And I also think that somebody's going to have to step up as a pass catcher up there and really make it happen against a tough Chiefs offense. And this defense for the Bucs is going to be tested by the Chiefs. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you are thinking about this upcoming week 9. This is Rico. This is Real Talk Sports. Next show, we will be back talking about the results from week 9 of the NFL season. All right. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.